This is Monster Mash Studio back with another video, and today I'd like to talk about the mods I've done to my Traxxas Rustler VXL. Probably the first mod I ever did to this was putting on aluminum caster blocks, and I think that's one of the most important mods you could ever do next to shock caps, because the caster blocks, as anyone who has ever driven a Traxxas vehicle with this style of caster block knows, that the plastic ones will bend, and the kingpin will bend with them, and it will break, and it's just a nightmare to replace. The second mod I ever did was the shock caps. You want to replace the shock caps with steel or aluminum because the plastic will flex and it will pop off, and every time it pops off, it takes some of the threading with it, and you'll end up with stripped shocks. And I had to buy a whole new set of shocks because mine got stripped and Traxxas wouldn't replace them because, I don't know. Also, I have a waterproof Savox servo. I am working on replacing the receiver. And another important thing that needs to be done is these wires need to be shrink wrapped or have heat shrink tubing put over them, because the wires are supposed to be fed through here. When you feed the wires through there, they will rub against inside there, and even if you have them zip tied down, which I did, they will chafe and it will cut right through in no time. And also another thing I did was with this motor, it originally had bushings, and I replaced the bushings with bearings. Bearings will have less friction, less heat, and you'll be able to gear up your motor more, because the more you gear up your motor, the hotter it will run. But if you have bearings, you'll be able to gear it up more. Also, you want to use, it doesn't matter what brand really, just metal drive shafts. This car puts out too much power for plastic drive shafts, and they just fill up with dirt. And if you've seen URC's video, which you should, about how to clean plastic drive shafts, it's a nightmare to clean these. You need to use a razor blade, and eventually you'll have to buy new ones because there's just not enough. There won't be enough plastic left. And overall, I think it's just better. It's more reliable. You won't have to fix it as much. And another thing, 50 weight shock oil is what you want to put in this. The stock. Mine were kind of underfilled. There was a decent amount of air inside my shocks, and there was also, it was really thin and it didn't work very well, so it sagged quite a bit without any preload. Now it's at a nice height for off-road and on-road use. You got a nice usable range of motion, so it won't wheelie as much when we're squat. And I also put on J-Concepts G-Lock wheels and tires, which are really nice. They're very sticky, and they're pretty firm, so they won't balloon as much. They're very nice on a dusty surface. You can kick out the rear end quite a bit and do some drifting, which is really nice. And if you're wondering what this goofy tall rear body posts are for, this was from a Traxxas /4x4, and it was to hold this. This is a Proline rat rod body, which was designed to fit a Summit or an E-Revo. I have neither. And I ordered it by mistake. I thought it would fit. I thought it would be a little too big. I didn't realize how much bigger it would be. So I chopped off the truck bed completely. And my neighbor helped me build a new one. We took a table saw. We measured out how big the bed we wanted it to be, and we cut it out. It's got the tailgate, and also I have, for this body, a GoPro mount inside. If you've seen my video on that, the video is called Proline Rat Rod Body First Person View. You should go check it out. It's pretty cool. And the GoPro, basically, it sits in here. I have a Hero 4 Session. That's what I'm recording with right now. The Hero 4 Session sits in here, and it's at head level, so it's really nice. Gets really nice footage. And then I also have all the wires taped up here, and then I have a little pouch because this intake up here is hollow. All this up here is hollow, and that allows me to fit a small one cell LiPo battery. I believe it is 500 milliamp hours. This will last me a full day of running, which is really nice. I've got lit up tailpipes, some spotlights. The headlights these headlights are really for show. They don't do too much. Because they don't get past the stickers very well. And then I've got the tail lights. The reason why I had to cut the back off was because the original truck bed had fenders, and the fenders were like way out here, so it would have looked absolutely ridiculous to have the fenders out there. So what I decided to do was I had to cut all this out to clear the A-arms, the drive shafts, and all that. And honestly, if you'd like to know how I did it and how I did the lights, just leave a comment or give it a like and I'll know what you guys want. Also, oops, sorry about that. I also used these batteries for a little bit, and I haven't had very much luck with them. They're not the greatest, and the plastic quality is lacking. Like this, the balance connector fused, and it caused all sorts of problems, and it ruined the battery. It burnt out the cell, and then this one, both ends fused because the plastic is kind of cheap, so the high current, the amount of heat that goes through the connector, it caused it to melt and fuse together, and also in the process destroying the balance connector. But the charger it comes with is pretty good, and I got one battery from eBay and one from Amazon, so it's not just the seller. But if you can get just this charger for 20 bucks, the most I'd pay is 35, but it's a pretty decent charger. It charges pretty fast. You can change the amps and you can check the cells and everything to know if yours are dead or not. There's also another brand to watch out for, and that's Bias batteries. They're not the greatest in terms of quality, and they're basically just like the Venom batteries. So I would go with Fluorion batteries or Genzace. Genzace is the best. Fluorion's second best, and then Bias and Venom are at the bottom. And this body is not really intended for off-road use, so that's why I have the on-road tires on right now, because I run this body quite a bit. This is more of my street body or beauty body, because I don't really like to take this thing bashing. I tried it once, I scratched it up pretty good, and the amount of work I put into this, I don't want to have to really do it again. So this is strictly like a street body. For bashing, I have this, the original body. As you can probably tell, I've cut basically, this is like unrecognizable at this point other than the graphics, because I've cut so much off this body. The back end I destroyed. That. I managed to crack and split all that. I had to cut the indicators in the bottom out. Also, I had to repair this body, and the best ways to repair a Lexan body, which this is Lexan, is Shugu or E6000 and duct tape. If you guys want me to do a video on how to repair Lexan bodies or even PVC bodies, leave a comment and I'll happily do that. Oops. Also, I did get questions on my gear ratios, and my gear ratio is stock. I have the well, it's not stock. I have the upgraded pinion that will bring me up to, or not pinion, sorry, spur gear that will bring me up to 70 miles an hour. And honestly, for off-road use, off-road use, it's kind of unnecessary, that much speed. I usually stick around 50 to 60 miles per hour, because then when you go into a power slide while you're off-road, since it's off-road, it's uneven surface, you're gonna catch somewhere along the tire, and this is two-wheel drive, not four-wheel drive. So if what will happen is you won't have very much turning at all going that fast. You can have full lock turning, and it will be like you're turned about that much, and you'll catch and you'll flip over. And that's happened to me so many times. You can see in my videos that I'll be running at the park, and I'll flip and wipe out completely. And it's just because just that speed is just unusable on that surface. So would not recommend bringing it 70 miles an hour. On road, however, this thing is amazing at 70 miles per hour. You have a lot of control, and it's very nice. And I have a GoPro Hero 4 Session that I put on this body. I have the GoPro mount. I would recommend using Hero 4 Session because it's much lighter, and you won't be erasing your center of gravity. The GoPro Hero 4 is not a really good option because it's so much heavier that when this thing likes to flip already. It likes to flip a lot. When you add the Hero 4, since it's so much larger, it has an LCD display and a much larger battery and more buttons on it, all that weight adds up, and you'll end up flipping a lot more than with the Session. And also, it's just a nice size, and it's nice to keep in a backpack. Also, the stock rear tires on this car are not very good. I think on my third run with this car with the stock tires, unfortunately I was not recording at that point, but the back tires exploded, and that was on a nickel metal hydride pack. This pack right here, those tires exploded. The front tires are holding up pretty well. They could do a bit better on traction, but on a surface like sand, like if you've watched my my videos on driving at the beach, they're very nice there. The rib design works very well, and that's about it. If you guys enjoyed, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, just ask, and I'll